Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far and welcome to today's video, which is going to be all about my Chanel foundation collection. I'm going to be sharing all of my thoughts on all of the Chanel foundations that I have tried and own, and also sharing my ranking from least to most loved with you today. So without further ado, let's get started. Chanel foundations can be overwhelming. You don't know where to start. They're all very expensive, and which one really is going to be for you, which is the best, who really knows? I own 6 of the Chanel foundations. I have the Ultra Le Teint Velvet. I have both of the Water Fresh Tint Situations varieties. I also have the #1 foundation, the Le Beige Healthy Glow, and also the regular Le Teint. So I feel like I have all of the kind of core Chanel foundations. There are some that I love, some that I like, and some that I don't enjoy whatsoever. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take you through each of these 6 foundations and tell you a little bit about them, because there are some of these that I don't love, but I think might be someone else's all-time favorite holy grail. So I will tell you all of the pros and the cons, who I think that each one will be suited to, and then I will let you know my personal ranking from worst to best. So let's start off telling you about each of these foundations. So in no particular order, let's start off with the Le Beige Healthy Glow Hydration and Long Wear Foundation. So this one will set you back £47 for 30 mils and is available in 34 shades. I purchased this in my summer shade, which is BD51, and I really like this foundation. It has a solid medium coverage and a radiant finish, and it's very fresh, healthy, youthful, glowy skin. It's described by the brand as being a natural looking foundation that infuses skin with the radiance of a day spent in the great outdoors. I would agree with that. I think that's a good description. Its fine silky texture glides over skin and forms a layer that is both invisible to the eye and imperceptible to the touch, like a second skin. Combination of light reflecting powders and pigments makes the skin's texture appear smoother and imperfections are diminished. So I agree with a lot about this foundation. The one thing that makes it slightly less than perfect for me is its wear time. If I don't set this, it is starting to fade and my skin's starting to show through, and just the kind of even skin tone that I started off the day with is disappearing. It also increases how glowy it started off, which is perfect. Quite quickly, I'd say 4 or 5 hours in, I'm starting to look a little shiny. So I would have to set this one, unless I'm just popping it on to film or to wear, you know, for a few hours. I need to set it, and it just doesn't wear that well on me. It starts to fade and go a little patchy and uneven. So that is the one major drawback about this one. I don't have an oily skin type, so I certainly wouldn't recommend this to someone with an oilier skin than me. My skin type is fairly normal, so I really don't feel like it should wear that badly on me. It's going to have far more problems if you have oilier skin type. So I wouldn't recommend this to anyone with like a normal oilier skin type if you want it to wear well, and that's what you want it for, especially if you don't like to use setting powder. If you have a drier skin, it may wear better on you because the oil isn't coming through and breaking it down. So let us know if you have a drier skin type and this is your holy grail. For me, this is like, it's nice, I like it, but I wish it wore better. Next up, let's talk about the newest addition to my Chanel foundation collection, the original Le Teint. This one will also set you back £47 for 30 mils and is available in 35 shades. It has the matte sort of finished bottle versus the shiny bottle, which gives you a clue about the finish. So this is Chanel's full-on, full beat, full glam foundation option. It is full coverage, soft matte, sort of natural matte finish, super long wearing, very soft focus. This is the foundation that I am wearing today. I've had it on many hours already. It is nearly 3 o'clock here. This has been on like 6 hours already, and I still feel like I didn't need to do any touching up in order to come on and film. It's full beat, full glam, you name it, it's got it. It's covering everything. I used a small amount today, and yet I feel like it's pretty much covered absolutely everything without even building up. It's got some coverage. Chanel describes this as the fluid foundation that pushes the limits, ultra long wear, comfortable, and a natural flawless finish. Evens out all complexions and keeps shine under control for perfect skin with a luminous matte finish. It's sweat-proof, transfer-free formula offers flawless wear for 24 hours. It's that old 24-hour claim again. We love it. It's highly ambitious, and who doesn't love a bit of ambition? I haven't tried to wear this for 24 hours, but I have worn it on some pretty long and trying days for a foundation. I've worn it to swimming lessons when we are there for like over 2 hours in the like most humid, hot, hellish environment at the end of a long day, and come out looking pretty darned good. It is high coverage. It is matter than I would typically love it to be for my own personal preference. But if I want a full beat, full glam foundation, this is probably second on my list. I do prefer the Hourglass for my full coverage, slightly more matte than I typically lean preference. Over this one, I do prefer the Hourglass to the Chanel, but this would be a close second. I think the Hourglass just has a little bit more luminosity to it, but it does wear very well, and it is super smooth and perfecting on the skin. It definitely has that blurring quality that it claims to. Next up, let's talk about the Chanel Teint Velvet. I do believe this one has been discontinued, and this is the only one of these Chanel foundations that doesn't have a pump. It has this twist off and like nozzle situation. This one will set you back £44 for 30 mils and is available in 14 shades, I believe, because it's on its way out. I'm pretty sure this has been discontinued. Can anybody fully confirm that in the comments? I'm pretty sure. So I have only owned this one for a few weeks. It actually was sent to me instead of the Le Teint that I actually ordered by Selfridges, which to be honest was a bit of a happy accident because they let me keep it and refunded me for their mistake, and I got to try another Chanel foundation, so that was helpful for this video. This is a very matte, full coverage, lightweight foundation. It's described by the brand as a long wearing foundation that naturally smooths and creates an even looking complexion. Its blurring effect conceals all imperfections and ensures a matte velvet makeup finish. Ultra light, ultra matte, and ultra natural. It instantly becomes one with the skin for a flawless complexion all day long. So I do agree that this feels very lightweight and it has a quite lightweight texture on the skin. This is so matte. It's like the worst kind of life-sucking matte. And like I said before, I don't have an oily skin type. Maybe if you have an oily skin, your natural oil is going to help this foundation, but I've worn this with like the glowiest primer I have, and it still just sucks all the life out of my face, and I feel like it looks really like dull on the skin. It really just dulls my whole complexion and makes me look older, and I just feel like it just doesn't suit me and my skin type whatsoever or my preferences. So this is like a not for me. If you have a really oily skin type, perhaps you will get along much better with it. It did wear well, and it was very smooth and sort of blurring because it looks very powdered, the finish, which again isn't for me. Even like soaking my face with Lisa Eldridge finishing spray afterwards didn't help it. It just ended up really dulling my complexion, and I just didn't really like it at all. Next, let's talk about the Water Fresh Complexion Touch. This will set you back £52 for 20 mils and is available in 16 shades. This one does also come with a brush, but I have thrown mine away because I hated it. Now, as per the brand, this is described as a first of its kind versatile face makeup formula infused with ultra concentrated micro droplet pigments. Its refreshing, lightweight texture and formula keeps skin hydrated and protected all throughout the day and offers an incredibly natural, flawless finish. So this is one that for me, it has pros and cons. It does feel very lightweight and very hydrating and fresh and refreshing and water-like on the skin. It is 60% water, I believe. Yes, so it should feel very hydrating and cooling, and it does. I don't love this one. I have pros and cons about it. I think it does really nicely even out the complexion, and I really love the fresh, healthy glow that it gives my skin, and the finish does look very nice and natural, and it does have a nice amount of coverage while still looking very skin-like. So those are some of the pros. What I don't like about it is how little product that you actually get for how expensive it is. When you compare it to these other foundations, it just doesn't make sense to me that this one is so much more expensive for 10 ml less product than a typical base or foundation product. I don't sort of appreciate what the extra money gets me. I feel like it doesn't get me a lot, if anything. But what I really don't like about this one is that it accentuates my problem area, the muzzle zone, as I like to call this, all around here where I have smile lines, texture, the sort of like crepiness that you can get around this area, fine lines on the chin, all of that just doesn't look good to me. It looks like enhanced, it looks like it makes it worse, it's more obvious once I've applied this, and it just, there's something about it that doesn't work for me in that area, and I find it quite unflattering for such a natural product, so not one of my favorites. In contrast, the next one that I want to talk about is the Water Fresh tint, the original one. So this one is the same price, £52, but you get 30 mils, and it's available in 17 shades. This is a super natural, like, hint of a skin tint. It's very, very natural, very, very sheer, but it somehow manages to really even out my skin tone, and I especially love this in summer when my body is much deeper than my neck and my face, and it just matches everything and evens everything out without really adding too much coverage. It really evens out redness, discoloration, all of that skin tone is just perfectly evened out without it looking like I'm wearing a thing, a stitch of makeup. Sometimes if I'm just running on the school run and I just want to like do a little bit of something, I will just apply this, nothing else. Sometimes I might do brows and mascara if I feel like it, but no makeup days. This is one of my all-time favorite products. It's so natural, it's so flattering, it's got the most beautiful healthy glow for a finish that is never too much, never too shiny, and it wears really nicely for this type of product, and you don't need much. I use literally 1 drop for each half of my face, tiniest little pumps, and it is lovely, so hydrating and fresh on the skin. I feel like it has all of the pros of this one, but you get 10 mils more product and it doesn't have any of the cons. Okay, and lastly, but by no means leastly, we have the Chanel No. 1 foundation, and this one will set you back £57 for 30 mils and is available in 29 shades. This one offers kind of the best of all worlds. It's a medium coverage, it's very long wearing, and it has a luminous finish. So this is part of Chanel's Red Camellia range, which is based on the flower and has anti-aging and skincare claims and ingredients, as well as being a makeup product. So it claims to diminish wrinkles and texture, pores are visibly refined, skin feels more comfortable and glowing, and after 1 month skin looks smoother. So I don't personally care about skincare sort of claims and ingredients in my foundations. I just don't really feel like enough of those ingredients are going to work their way into my skin when applied on top of all of those other products, but obviously that's a personal preference. This for me just combines the best of all of the other foundations. It has the most beautiful luminosity to the finish that is not super dewy and glowy so it can look a bit shiny. It's just a really healthy, natural, luminous glow to the skin that looks like you drink all of your water and do all of your skincare and you use retinol and you eat so many vegetables every single day. Whether or not any of that is true. It's very flattering, very, very good on my problem area and anywhere else, lines, wrinkles, pores. It sits beautifully on top of all of those kind of problem areas and little imperfections. It covers beautifully while allowing skin to still show through and it to still look very natural on the skin. but it's got the perfect amount, like solid medium coverage, that if you really want to even out that skin tone and you want to look, you know, like your best and you're wearing makeup and do a full face, but you want it to look natural and skin-like and not just see like a canvas of makeup, it's very, very beautiful. I absolutely love this one. Okay, so that is all of the details on each of these 6 foundations that I've tried and own from Chanel. But what is the ranking? So in 6th place, I wonder if you can guess. Who do you think is in 6th? Which foundation do I like the least? I think you've probably guessed it. It's the Velvet. Thank goodness, because it's being discontinued, and I would have been furious with Selfridges if they sent me this against my will, only to fall in love with it and then discover it's been discontinued. That would be a really sad story. So I'm kind of glad that I didn't love it. It's just overwhelmingly far too matte for me, for my skin type and for my preferences. I don't find it flattering on me. I just feel like it makes my skin look so dull. I just didn't like it at all. I won't be using it again. I didn't like really anything about it. In 5th place, it is the Water Fresh Complexion Touch. So confusing with these names. I don't hate it, I just don't love it, and I don't understand why it's so expensive for the amount that you get. I think it's really stingy, and I don't think it's worth the price point when you compare it to the others that rank above it that are so much better value for money. I feel like it could have been better, and I don't like the way it sits in this area. In 4th place, we have the Beige Healthy Glow foundation. I love how this looks. It's beautiful. When I first apply it, I would wear it on camera and everyone would say, your skin looks gorgeous, what foundation is that? But the wear time on it just bumps it down a few spots because it just doesn't wear well enough unset to make it into a kind of regular rotation for me. And the top 3, I love them all. They're all excellent foundations. This order is just like a personal preference. In 3rd place, it's the Teint. One of the reasons this is, maybe it could have been in 2nd. One of the reasons it's in 3rd is I really struggled with my shade in this foundation. Typically, I do pretty well in Chanel's foundation range. I usually prefer to stay in their neutral range because their warm range is usually too yellow for me, but I had to buy 2 shades of this foundation and mix together to get a shade that looked anything other than bonkers on me. I actually went into a shop and swatched 5 or 6 shades and all of them looked quite off undertone wise, so I ended up having to buy 2. I have BD41 and B40. BD41 is much too yellow on its own, and B40 is quite like orange for a neutral shade, which surprised me, but that's where we were at. So if I mix these 2 together, I get my perfect shade, which is what I'm wearing today, but that's annoying to do. It is a little matte for my liking. I like to wear this with a really glowy primer, a really hydrating primer, something like the Keys primer or the Dior hydrating primer, either of those under this, and maybe even a bit of the Chanel skin enhancer mixed in, and then it's glorious. I love the amount of coverage it gives for those full glam days. Wears very nicely. Maybe it's a hair too matte for my total love of my life, but a very good foundation if you can find a shade that works perfectly for you. In 2nd place, it's the original Water Fresh tint. So much better than this one, and you get more for the same amount of money. This is you can see how much I've used it. It's up here, and I don't use that much when I do use it. And I would tell you, if this ran out, I would repurchase it tomorrow. It's a necessity now in my makeup collection. It's my go-to for no makeup days. It just perfectly gives me a hint of something, evens everything out, makes me look a little more awake, dark circles, all of that good stuff are evened out without it looking like I'm wearing makeup, you know? So in 1st place, it's the Chanel #1. It had to be. It's the #1 foundation, so of course it's my #1 foundation. It just makes perfect sense. But this is just a sweet spot for me when it comes to foundation. It's medium coverage, it's luminous finish, it wears well, it's super smooth and perfecting. what more could I want? Tick, 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 it ticks all my boxes. So there you have it. That is my Chanel foundations roundup and ranking. I hope if you're trying to get into Chanel foundations, this video was helpful, because I know it's confusing on where to start. But please let us know what your #1 Chanel foundation is in the comment section down below, or if you've never tried any, which one do you want to try? Which one are you most drawn to try first? Please let us know in the comment section down below. But I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and I'd love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.